Hello, my name's Billy Treacy, and this is... Introduce yourself, John.
Hello, my name's John Gransden.
Right, so, this is a WhoTubia Podcast thingy, and we're going to be talking about some of the recent fan films and all that. So, without further ado, let's begin. Right, so we'll start off by talking about some of the latest editions and sort of the best known ones. We'll begin by talking about Thomas Rhys-Kay's One Last Chance.
Yeah.
And I believe John had a little bit of involvement in that.
Yeah, I did.
Didn't you?
I played the other Doctor. To try not to spoil it for other people, there's it's quite an interesting part to play, and it was a fun little production. I spent like a day on it, and then I also did a lot of the special effects, like 99%.
And what was it like acting alongside the legendary Thomas Rhys-Kay?
Bizarre, very, very bizarre. Because the first time we look at each other, is that shot. He stands up, turns around, and we look at each other, and we give each other like serious looks, and we kept on cracking up. If you look at the shot when over the shoulder shot of me looking at Tom, you'll notice I'm actually looking down, because we couldn't look at each other without corpsing. We actually kept on laughing, and he just turned around and went, "That's impossible." Kind of just couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah, I completely understand. Yeah, it's not the first. That happens to me all the time. Whenever I meet someone new, it's very difficult to act alongside them.
Yeah.
And apparently he made you a cheese sandwich. Is that correct?
He did make me a cheese sandwich.
Thomas Rhys-Kay made John Gransden a sandwich.
You heard it here
There
first.
you go. Yeah. There you go. This is official. Thomas Rhys-Kay is a normal human being.
He has a life.
Wow, there you go. Anyways, yeah, we'll move on again. And now we're going on to something that hasn't been on YouTube for a long, long time. Although it is still on there, but there's not been anything new. Jamie Carroll's Doctor Who, The 11th Regeneration. And the last instalment we saw of that was Resurrection of the Master. And that was that last year? I think that was last year, wasn't it?
I think it was last year, wasn't it?
It was a very long time ago. Yeah, it was November? October? Something like that. So, his second series, let's just look back on that, John.
Yep.
How would you describe it in general as a series?
I'd say it's better than Series 1. And it looked like it was going somewhere interesting. We still haven't seen Rise of the Nemesis yet. And I would say probably the only thing that let it down was the camera quality. Some of the scripts sometimes feel a bit like the current series.
Yeah, there is a certain originality element in there that Jamie needs to sort out.
Yeah.
But most of his episodes, I think, aren't necessarily about the quality of the actual video. It's all about the telling of the story, and he's managed that relatively well.
Yeah.
It's very difficult looking back now, actually, but yeah. His second series, I think I found it a little bit harder to get into the second series than I did the first series. I remember when this first episode came out, I was far more excited about that than I was about Saving Grace. And I don't think there's any particular reason for that. I think it was just because his first series was just new and exciting, and we hadn't seen many fan films out at that point. Well, I hadn't anyway. So it just felt more exciting, you know?
Yeah, and
if you get me.
I think Series 2 has been, not to sound harsh, but kind of like more of the same. And there's not been a huge difference in story. It's not moved up to the next gear as much. But there's always been...
It certainly has developed, hasn't
it?
But there's not been a massive It's not been a massive shunt, as we've seen in series such as I don't want to blow my own trumpet here, but Time Agent in Series 2, there's a massive difference in quality in Series 2 than Series 1, isn't there?
Yeah, for Series 2 of Time Agent, it feels like it's going somewhere where with a huge, bigger backstory, whereas Series 1 was introducing the characters and having a fun little contained story.
Yeah, contained.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll move on one more time
Yeah.
to another well-known fan film, and this is Doctor Who 2009.
Or it's been renamed.
Which we haven't... Well, yeah, it's just a Doctor Who fan series now.
Yeah.
Made in America.
Mm-hmm.
The last we saw of this was, again, this is another one of those fan films that haven't been around for a very long time.
Yeah.
We haven't seen a full episode since Fire and Ice, good news for this fan film also is that has been voted the greatest fan film of last decade.
Yeah.
So you'd think they'd have a lot more motivation. So John, what do you think's been going on here with these makers?
Well, first of all, Doctor Who Fire and Ice, first of all, was got to be one of the best fan films. It's got a few, maybe...
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe the pace is too slow to start with, and the only thing I'd say is I prefer, if it's an American fan film, for the Doctor to have an American accent. I don't mind that idea that, as he's from another world, he'll...
Yeah, you want it to be... you want it to come naturally to the actor rather than it to be a pale imitation, don't you?
Definitely. But from the looks of the Guardian of the Solar System trailers, it looks amazing. If you go onto their website, www.doctorwho2009.com, there are 2 trailers on their front page.
Yeah.
And it looks really good. Like, really professional.
The grading, one of the highlights of this series is not just the acting, but the grading is impressive.
It really looks and
impressive.
feels cinematic.
Yes.
But it takes a long time for each episode to come out, and they're planning 13 episodes, and according to the Facebook group and other sources, it's after the Guardian of the Solar System's been released, it's going to go on to hiatus for a while until they can sort out filming schedules and actors and so forth, which is a real shame.
Yeah.
Because you hear of fan films going on hiatus or going for a break, and they never come back. They just fade away.
Yeah.
And
which would be a real shame in this case.
Yeah, because it's something special, and especially the end of episode 1.
I think it would be very unlikely for a fan series like this to pop up again.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. Very unlikely.
It's very rare. Although
yes.
something like alternate Empire.
Yes.
That's also on a par with that series. But there's not many British fan films that have this quality and visual punch. First of all, they're really visual, and it feels a lot more professional than most fan films in the UK. And there's how to say this in the right way, I think that they also feel like a lot more love's gone into them, if that makes sense. The end product still looks like it's got a lot of enthusiasm in it, and sometimes some long-running fan series or fan film makers get very repetitive and slightly drawn out episodes.
Yeah, you do find that some of the best fan films are the ones that are one-offs, don't you?
Definitely.
Where it's just, okay, these guys have stepped back and they said, okay, right, we want to do a Doctor Who, and we've got a story to tell, rather than just saying, okay, we're going to do a Doctor Who series and we want to be popular. You don't feel that. You feel like they want to tell a story here.
Exactly.
And that's what fan films are at the end of the day. It's all about the art of storytelling.
Indeed, yeah. It's the and we'll come back to this later on when we do our tips. But only do a fan film if you've got a story to tell, and don't sit there going, oh, that's alright, I've got a story to tell. You've really got to make sure that there is something really big and worthwhile and totally new. And we'll get back to that later, but it's something that is coming across in the American fan films, and you know, some of the more modern and recent fan films. Time Agent, for example, has got something really big coming, and you know, it's very exciting. No, well, it's true. So yeah.